Much like the original 1922 film, the 2024 film adaptation of Nosferatu, directed by Robert Eggers, plays host to a plethora of themes and imagery connected to folklore and occultism. Eggers himself is an occult scholar who is absurdly well read on the subject, and though he refuses to elaborate on his knowledge, the extent of his research is evident in his work. His interest in the original Nosferatu stems from a childhood viewing of the film and grew from there, with Eggers first adapting Nosferatu as a stage play in 2001 and taking the role of Count Orlok for himself. The original Nosferatu is similarly steeped in occultism, and therefore it would make sense for Robert Eggers to take an interest in it. He goes a step further in his adaptation by shining a light on the mythology surrounding the source material. Nosferatu is an unauthorized adaptation of Dracula, which itself borrows an immense amount from Transylvanian folklore. Much like Dracula, Robert Eggers' version of Count Orlok is outright stated to be Solomonar. Transylvanian folklore says that deep in the heart of the mountains, and sometimes said to exist underground beneath the earth itself, is a school known as the Scholomance, which accepts only 10 students at a time and teaches the secrets of nature, the language of animals, and all imaginable magic spells and charms. It is said that the Scholomance is led by none other than the devil, and that his students are known as Solomonar, or Solomonari. Upon the completion of their course at the Scholomance, 9 of the 10 students are sent home, while the 10th scholar remains with the devil as payment and assists him in controlling or manipulating the weather, in other words, preparing the thunderbolts, while mounted on a dragon, also known as a balaur. An 1897 journal on folklore goes into further detail, stating that 1 in 8 receives instruction during 14 years, and on his return to Earth he has the following power. By means of certain magical formulae, he compels the dragon to ascend from the depths of a lake. He then throws a golden bridle with which he has been provided over his head, and rides aloft among the clouds, which he causes to freeze and thereby produces hail. The legends surrounding the Scholomance were introduced to mainstream Western culture by Bram Stoker in his novel Dracula, where it is revealed that the titular count was himself a student there. The Draculas were a great and noble race, though now and again were scions who are held by their coevals to have had dealings with the evil one. They learned his secrets in the Scholomance, amongst the mountains, where the devil claims the 10th scholar as his due. Sure enough, the folklorist S.F. Marion asserts that the Solomonari were vampires or strigoi, who lived underground in the Scholomance, avoiding the sun for the duration of their lessons. There are heavy Christian overtones throughout the information collected by 19th century folklorists, with the Scholomance being literally run by the devil. The collective name of the Solomonari itself appears to be derived from the biblical figure of King Solomon. Indeed, the seal of Solomon looms large over mysticism and occultism. This legendary ring is said to have given Solomon the ability to speak with animals, as well as the ability to command and enslave demons. Gnostic texts depict Solomon as having sent out an army of demons to pursue a virgin who had fled from him. Over time, the seal of Solomon became a symbol in medieval and Renaissance magic, occultism, and alchemy. It is possible this association with alchemy, as well as the assertions of some that King Solomon had the ability to control the weather, that gives the Solomonari their name. Solomonar are described as being very tall, about 6 to 10 feet tall supposedly, with red hair and wearing robes that are either long and white or ragged and patchy. It is said that the coins they collect from people around them are thrown into rivers as offerings to the water spirits. They are said to carry an iron axe that can be used as a lightning rod or a wand, birch bark reins or a golden bridle, and a book of wisdom, from which they are sometimes said to derive their power, as the book contains all their knowledge. Their portrayal as red-haired giants have led some to hypothesize that the Solomonari are somehow associated with the legendary Red Jews, who are said to have lived in isolation at the fringes of the known world. Despite their supposedly large and distinct appearances, Solomonar are also said to be able to easily blend in with crowds and disguise themselves as commoners. Those who left the Scholomance to resume their normal lives were referred to as Master Masons. They could be used as consultants regarding Solomonar activities, and were even hired as counter-Solomonari to prevent the devastation of one's crops and to cast spells that could divert the dragon-riding Solomonari. However, while the Solomonari were once so feared that people often took measures to accommodate cloaked beggars just on the off chance that they were in fact Solomonar, this fear seems to have come after Christianity was introduced to Transylvania. Before it became a Christian territory, Transylvania was part of a Roman province of Dacia, which was culturally associated with Thrace prior to the Roman conquest. Priests of the pagan gods in both regions were said to retreat to the woods and secret places in order to learn the secrets of their gods. Before they were known as Solomonari, these shaman priests, known by a plethora of names such as Hultan, claimed control over storms and could summon and ride dragons. They were actually seen as a benevolent force, as they could implore the gods to deliver much-needed rain to fertilize the crops. These priests are believed to have been adherents of the Zalmoxian religion, which has been the subject of much discussion and debate among scholars who have studied Dacian and Getaic mythology, where Zalmoxis was worshipped as a god. Some believe that Zalmoxis was a sky god, while others contend he was a chthonic god, a god of the dead. Said to have once been a human slave, Zalmoxis was liberated and founded a mystical cult. The myths state that Zalmoxis dug himself an underground residence before disappearing from Thrace for years. He was believed to have died and was grieved by his followers before he eventually returned. His disappearance and return has led scholars to theorize about Zalmoxis, who may have been a Christ-like figure who died and was later resurrected. In truth, there is very little that we know about the god Zalmoxis, but the ancients say that he taught astrology as well as the doctrine of immortality. According to Diogenes Laertius, Zalmoxis was identified with the harvest god Kronos, also known as Saturn. It wasn't until the Christians defamed the Solomonari that they were said to be devil worshippers. Even so, the themes of resurrection and immortality that can be gleaned from the mythology surrounding Zalmoxis and his Dacian followers do carry strong parallels with the lore surrounding vampires, also known as Moroi or Strigoi. It is evident that Bram Stoker did a lot of research on the folklore of Transylvania before he decided to include Dracula among the ranks of those who learned from the Scholomans. The sigil of Count Orlok, which includes a Dacian Draco, i.e. a wolf-headed serpent which was a symbol commonly used in Dacian times, also features a 7-pointed star or a heptagram, with Cyrillic symbols written between the star's points. These symbols are Old Cyrillic Romanian and spell out the word Zalmoxis. In the centre of the sigil is an upside-down triangle with a line through it, which is the alchemical symbol for blood. Countering the threat of Nosferatu is Professor Alban Eberhard von Franz, played brilliantly by Willem Dafoe. Von Franz is an occultist who is introduced performing alchemy, namely trying to transmute black sulfur into gold by invoking Hermes, who is a key figure in Hermeticism. While dealing with Ellen's spasms and fits, von Franz names the demons Elagos, Orobas, and Asmodee, who are all featured in the Ars Goetia, one of the mystical books in the Lesser Key of Solomon. Given that Orlok is able to control the weather, these claims that he is Solomonar seem to be accurate. It's just a shame that he didn't have a dragon to ride on. It would have saved the crew members of that ship he was on a lot of trouble.